Now, a Ukrainian human rights organisation, Human Rights Centre ZMINA, has published a list of civilians that have been abducted by the Russian government and is demanding their immediate release.
I'm pleased to say that we're joined by Tetiana Pechonchyk, who is a spokesperson with ZMINA, a human rights organisation in Ukraine. Thank you so much for joining us. Who are the people that have been abducted by Russian forces?
There are a number of enforced disappearances on the territories newly occupied by Russia in different regions of Ukraine. This is Kherson, Zaporizhia region, Donetsk region also. There were cases in Kiev region, but now Russian troops are withdrawing from these territories. Usually these are different categories of people, like Ukrainian military veterans who participated in the war in Donbass, but not only. One of the groups that we are working with and focusing our attention are active members of local communities, like local city mayors, deputies of local city and village councils, journalists, human rights defenders, volunteers, religious leaders of local communities, and we fixed over 70 cases of abductions, enforced disappearances of such people.
Do we know what the fate of these people is? Do we know that they're still alive? Have you heard from these people at all to know what's happening to them?
Some of them were already released. About the majority from this list, we do not have information where they are taken. From those who were released, we know that they are taken in captivity, and there is a big risk of applying torture and ill treatment to them. And the main reason why these people are being captured is to terrify the local communities, as there is a big resistance to the Russian invaders on these newly occupied territories, and the nation is very united. People arrange a protest, peaceful demonstration with Ukrainian flags under the gun of Russian troops. In order to break this resistance, the invaders want to send a signal by abducting these active members of the local communities for others not to protest. And unfortunately, there are sad news, because just today, a few hours ago, we received the news that the photojournalist Maxim Levin from Levy Left Bank online newspaper was found killed in the territories near Kiev, where they were shelling. And he was in that territory, and he was missing for a while. While also President Zelensky told that some of the city mayors who were kidnapped are also not alive anymore, but we do not have their names, who these people are, and we hope that majority of these people will be released, and that's why we think it's very important to talk about them, to tell their stories, and to send Kremlin the clear signal that international community is watching and following the destinies of these people. And I believe it would help, if not to release them immediately, but at least to decrease the risk of applying torture to them.
And do you think the West is doing enough to put pressure on Putin to behave properly?
We do not think that enough is being done. For example, my NGO have been working on the documentation of human rights abuses in the occupied Crimea. And during the last 8 years, we've been telling the international organizations and foreign governments that the sanctions that were imposed on Putin and on Putinist Russia and against Russian businesses were not enough. And we were watching that throughout these years, Putin's regime was only growing. And we also, by the way, 8 years ago, when Russia occupied Crimea, we also fixed a number of enforced disappearances of journalists, activists, and many of them from the Crimean Tatar background. And some of these people are still missing. We think they are not alive anymore. And we see this as like a repeating practice. Later it was done in Donbass, and now it is done by Russians in many other regions of Ukraine. Therefore, we call the foreign nations to stop buying Russian oil and gas. I know that there are increasing prices because of this war on the markets, on the world markets, but we pay with our blood. for
Tetiana
that. And we defend the democracy.
Tetiana, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning and filling us in on that news that's happening in Ukraine. Thank you very much.